Hello everybody, my name is Yuriy Zaletskyy and I'm co-founder and CTO at company AcuPower. Today I want to write a short video about how to develop for Acumatica. So step number one would be make sure that your development machine corresponds to these requirements. First of all, you will need display resolution, and here on my blog I've written a short article what kind of screen resolutions will be workable, but honestly speaking, the bigger you will have, the better it will be for you for development. Next step, you will need Adobe Reader. Why you will need it? Because in order to open PDF documents. The same is true about Microsoft Office. If you want to see documents which you export from Acumatica ERP, mostly it is related to Excel, but not only Excel, also you will need IIS or Internet Information Services. Browser, it may be Edge, it may be Firefox, it may be Apple Safari, or it may be Chrome. It's usually myself do development with Chrome, but you feel free to use whatever you want. As of supported, I would suggest to go with Chrome and Firefox. I've been in situations when some Acumatica functionality didn't work on Edge and didn't work on Safari. This was rare cases, but it may be. Next, you will need some SQL Server. Acumatica does not support all SQL servers, but you may go with Microsoft SQL Server 2019, like lowest one, which you can rely on is 2016, not lower. You can try with MySQL. It may be either 5.7 or 8.0, and it should be 64 bits. You can try with MariaDB. Want to mention about memory and CPU. This is very humble requirements. If you want to have convenient development, use more. Also, you will need Windows system. It may be Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows Server, and some either Visual Studio, Community, Professional, Enterprise, or you can try Rider from JetBrains, whatever you want. So step number one, prepare your development machine. Step number two would be find out which Acumatica build to use. In order to understand it, open login screen of Acumatica, and you will see here what kind of build I'm using, 22.110.00.18. After that, go here, builds.acumatica.com, open this page. Then here you can see various builds of Acumatica available. For example, if my instance would be, let's say, 17, here would be written build 17 dot some certain numbers dot some 4 numbers. In my case, 22.0.0.1, 22.110. I'll go 22.1, and then you see this specific build 110.0.0.18. Then I go to Acumatica ERP and downloading this installer. I'm not going to show you how downloading of the installer works, but I will show you in my next portion of the video how to install specific Acumatica and to what pay attention to. So we downloaded from Acumatica builds.acumatica.com specific Acumatica build, and here you see, here it is, Acumatica ERP install. Because I downloaded it second time, it has this one in brackets. Yeah. So let me execute installer. And here you see, welcome to Acumatica ERP 2021 R1 Setup Wizard. Version 22.110.00.18. Exactly as you see here. For now, you can disregard this plus, it has no value. Then click on next. Here you don't have choice but just to accept. Then next. And very important, all our developers, they hit all checkboxes. All checkboxes. Let me explain you purpose of the most important of those checkboxes for development is install debugger tools. And this is something that I ask all of our developers to highlight: install debugger tools. Why it is necessary? Acumatica, like this checkbox, provides you with PDB files, and you will be able to kind of develop Acumatica source code. It will not be full debugging experience as if you have full Acumatica source code, but you will be able to understand a lot of Acumatica. That's why install debugger tools is the most important checkbox. Install device hub and install report designer. Those are basically two tools of Acumatica, and I would put it this way: if you as a developer never touch device hub, you can skip it. And I would say this: in one way or the other, developers need report designer. But because our company deals with everything, I ask my developers, like this is one of the most important steps, as a software configuration, hit all checkboxes. Debugging, we work with device hub, we work with report designer. If you're going to work with any of those tools, like or two of these, check it. Debugger tools is mandatory for developers. Then click on next. Here you will be able to cherry pick where you're going to install it. Click on next, then install, and I will pause video recording after it will be started. Yeah, Acumatica asks about additional permissions, validate and install, and I will pause video recording until it will be installed. So let's continue our recording. I want to mention that we can develop in Acumatica in two ways: in customization editor and in Visual Studio, or kind of both. But before we jump to that, let's install a new Acumatica instance. We can do this via deploy new application instance. So I click here, deploy new application instance, and now you see that it is good to have powerful computer. In case of my computer, you can see that I have pretty powerful computer like CPU, memory, SSD drive, but that not necessarily helps. Here you see that you can install Acumatica with usage of Microsoft SQL Server and MySQL Server. If you remember my article requirements, we had MariaDB and we have MySQL. Question: where is MariaDB? MariaDB will be here if you cherry pick MySQL Server, and here you will need to treat your MariaDB as MySQL Server. So just to avoid some confusion, and here then goes Windows authentication. This is authentication of Acumatica to SQL Server database. So I click on next. I'm creating new database. I will call it video demo. I will click on next. It says the database already exists because it's my second attempt to record video. So I just give it another name, video demo 2. I'm click on next, and here on this step I always recommend to install Sales Demo. Even if you going to restore a snapshot, or if you are going to connect to existing database, I would still recommend you to insert Sales Demo and then modify web config. Anyway, insert data Sales Demo, click on next. Here I'm going to use Windows authentication. Here we have video demo. Here there is very important set of checkboxes. create Acumatica ERP site or create portal. What is portal? This is customer's portal. Acumatica as of now has two important products through which you can install through Acumatica ERP configuration wizard. Acumatica ERP site and portal. Yeah. For now I'm going to install ERP site, but our team also has experience working with portal. So click on next. Here we have interesting options. Virtual directory. Yeah, that's what is virtual directory. Let me show you what is virtual directory. If you have, you should have IIS on your machine, and here you have multiple websites, for example, and virtual directory basically will be some of this. I mean, like 21 R2 in my machine, demo, hack 2022, and so on. And by the way, there is video demo. I'm going to delete it in order to demonstrate a bit how it works, and I'm going to remove this thread pool because I want to demonstrate how it works. So I prefer personally always to create application pool, video, demo, virtual directories you've seen already. Don't compile the site, that is important checkbox which helps to build sites faster. Application pool is necessary for getting possibility to understand easily in debugging stage what are you modifying. So I recommend for each website create its own application pool. Then click on next. You will not have this error message. And I'm clicking on finish. And for now I will pause recording until it will be completed. After you install Acumatica, you may need to sign in there. How to do that? One of the ways would be open Acumatica ERP configuration wizard, and you can click Perform Application Maintenance. Here is video demo 2, which we installed in previous part of the video. I click here and want to highlight that after first installation, username to sign in into system is admin and password is set up. It is exactly as it is shown in the screen. And now, I cherry-picked video demo 2 and I click on the launch. You see Acumatica Instance opens. It loads a bit longer than usually because my computer, although it's powerful enough, but in the background there is video recording. That video grabs video from camera and it also loads the system. And yeah, I'm signing in as admin. Password is set up. I click on enter and it asks me for new username and password. I'm doing that. I'm setting new password 123. Click on sign in. And here you go. You configured your first Acumatica instance for development. Next steps will be I will show how to add button on existing Acumatica form and how to debug generated code. It will be in the next part of the video. So now our next step would be to modify sales order form and add button there. How can I find this sales orders form? I just type here sales orders. Click here in sales orders. And while it loads, I want to highlight that Acumatica has this Screen ID section. A bit of patience. Want to mention that, let's say, take note, Screen ID changed, and again changed. When we have specific sales order open, we have Screen ID change. So here we have two buttons right now, reopen order and copy order. Here we have other orders, and I want us to have here one more button, which we will name test button. Here I have written a short article how to add button to existing Acumatica screen. Here you see we have Ctrl Alt anywhere on the form. So I'm clicking here, I'm pressing on my keyboard Ctrl Alt and click on the form, and here you see business logic as order entry, and this is this is graph as order entry, Ctrl Alt, which we need to customize. How we can do that? In Acumatica, any kind of changes are done through customization project. I will create new customization and I call it add button customization. Add button custom button 1. Let it be this name. I'm clicking on save, and here I'm going to code section. I clicking on plus, and here, because we want to modify existing page, I'm cherry picking graph extension. Base graph, as it was found here as order entry. So I'm typing here as order entry. I know it looks a bit confusing which one to cherry pick. Yeah. So I'm cherry picking this one, PX objects as order entry. Why is this one? Well, here there is another way, but I don't want to use it for now. Like customize business logic, it will give us this graph, and I click in on OK. Here Acumatica make some kind of preparation for us. Let's say here is the code for which I'm going to copy paste, and let me make explanation. So in Acumatica, all business logic is coded in graphs or in graph extensions. We have base Acumatica graph as order entry. Here we mentioning that we want to add a button. Acumatica uses something that is named convention or configuration. How it look like? If we want to have button which will appear anywhere on the form, we need to reference primary duck class. Primary duck class is always something which is bound here. So I click on customization, Ctrl Alt click, and here we can see that primary duck class is SO order. And if, for example, I will click here, this is not summary or not header of Acumatica. Here we see that duck class is different, SO line. If I want to add button, I need to use primary duck class, not some other duck class anywhere else on the form. Caption on the button will be test some stuff. So convention is this: public PX action, primary duck class, test some stuff. This is what like I say to Acumatica, look, I need this button. It should be as a button with display name test some stuff, and here I'm having some logic, which now I click on save. Now again go back here. You see here we are on the form, we have two buttons: reopen order, copy order, and some other buttons here which are not available. I'm publishing package, like I save it. I'm going here, I'm reloading this page, add button 1, selecting checkbox here, click on publish, a bit of patience. Here take note about this. I will copy paste this in clipboard for now. Copy. I click on publish, and here we go. We don't have. Close compilation panel. Reload. And here we have button test some stuff. You see, it appeared here. That's quite interesting. Let me see, no buttons at all. Here we have test some stuff. Let me see if I can find some open order. We have completed, and we have open order. I click on select, and you see here is our button, test some stuff. It appeared. Now I'm going to OneNote. Okay, it says my Notepad++ doesn't have permission. Okay, let me run it as administrator. Yes, I will open this file one more time. Why? You don't have permissions. Okay. Then let me stop this for now. Let me use Visual Studio for this purpose for now. Open file. A bit of patience. Here we go. This is file this is snippet which we copy pasted from our blog. And now let me demonstrate to you how you can debug this button. In order to do this, I'm clicking here, add existing website, and I'm clicking on video demo. I'm clicking on open, and here you can see a parent time code, a bit of patience again. As usual in Visual Studio is heavily loaded when it tries to connect, as you can see by Task Manager. It takes a bit of time. I will pause video for a moment while it loads. Okay, so I want to demonstrate how to debug, and as you see I had empty solution. I opened this SO order entry, then put in here a breakpoint. Now I click on debug, attach to process, and here I'm putting a checkbox show processes for all users. Here I tap in W3 WP, and you see thread pool for video demo, and I'm clicking on attach. It asks me, do you really want? I say yes. Now I'm going here, I'm clicking on test some stuff. It will take a bit of time while it will be loaded. Initially it says the breakpoint will not currently be hit because PDB files are not yet created. Again, it takes a bit longer than usually because my computer records video. You see breakpoint become activated. Yeah. Let me refresh this page. Session has expired. Okay, that's okay. A bit of patience. And now I'm clicking test some stuff. And you see, we come in Visual Studio. So this is how I can debug Visual Studio C# code in Visual Studio, which were written in Customization Designer. Yeah. Now, next part of the video, I'm going to demonstrate how to create class library and debug it as well. So, next step of my demonstration would be show how you can achieve the same functionality, but with customization project, and when you have your C# code written in Visual Studio. So I'm creating one more customization package, which I name add button 2. As you see, I don't have packages unpublished. Sorry, I don't have add button 1 published. Also, when I go here at the folder app runtime code and I click on refresh here, where is this refresh? Okay, I'll use this one. You see, I don't have this C# code file. Next step would be I click on add new project. I'm cherry picking class library .NET framework. Click on next. I will call it video demo 2. .NET Framework 4.8, and I click on create. Why I'm cherry picking .NET Framework 4.8? If to go to web config of Acumatica, and here if you look for framework, you see what kind of framework Acumatica uses, 4.8. If you look in older versions of Acumatica, you may find out that Acumatica uses other frameworks. For example, 20 version 1. If to look into template of web config and to look for framework, you may find out that older version of Acumatica also, like this version, also uses framework 4.8, but I can tell you previous versions of Acumatica, they had different than 4.8. So that's why I created class library which targets 4.8. Besides that, you see I can target other versions as well. Next step would be to add references to PX objects and other DLLs. In order to do that, I will copy paste their location. So I'm looking for px.objects, px common, by the way, also I will need. So px common DLL, properties, okay, F4, here it is, its location. I click on F4 button. Now I'm going to references and reference, browse, and add px.objects, then browse x.common DLL. That's by no means all of them, yeah, but to make life a bit easier, so I will rename this class here, class 1 to this, and you see I need IEnumerable, pxgraph extension, pxdata, and here we go. So step number 1 would be add references, step number 2 would be to rename, and one more step in order to be able to do development of C# code. On the bin folder, right click and add reference, projects, video demo 2, and click on OK. Now click on build of video demo 2, I click on build, and take note, like video demo 2 DLL was generated in this folder. If we will go to Acumatica Instance itself, I click on File, click on F4, I am copy pasting this path. I myself like to use total commander, which should be executed in as admin mode, and if I go to bin folder, you see Visual Studio created those two files, videodemo2.dll and videodemo2.pdb. Both, like, PDB is needed for being able to debug this website. Videodemo2.dll, well, that's understandable what is its purpose for. Let's come back to Acumatica. I'm opening sales orders form for now. Screen ID of sales order form is SO301000. I'm opening it. Again, a bit of patience is necessary because I'm in video recording mode. so it takes a bit of time. Here in Visual Studio I also going to do the same. I will put a breakpoint here, I will put a breakpoint here, but for now I'm not going to attach debugger for now. I don't want to attach debugger because Acumatica will work a bit slower in debugger mode. By the way, I want to show processes, and if to look who is like by CPU, what application loads, you can see VB C# compiler and IAS working process. Worker process. It's because Acumatica does runtime compilation. That's why you see this heavy loading. And let me click on SO301000 one more time. Again, you can see Visual Studio, load system, IAS worker process. So IAS worker process, it means IAS loads heavily. VB CS compiler, this is again tool which Acumatica uses in the background, like Acumatica framework. You can see memory consumption. You see it increases, decreases time from the time. So we are getting closer and closer. If I wouldn't be in screen recording mode, it will run faster, by the way. So typical development cycle is smaller in scope of Acumatica development. So here we go. You see this button, test some stuff. Now I go back to Visual Studio. I click on debug, attach to process, W3 WP, W3, and here video, if you make bigger, video demo 2. Yeah, I'm attaching, attach. Now you see breakpoint is not active and they become active. Now I go here, test some stuff, and you see here we come in debugger. So this is almost final step of debugging with help of Visual Studio. Now next step would be open this package. Okay. We need to inform this package at button 2 somehow about our DLL. How we do this? We first of all open it, then go to Files section, click here on plus, and here we can type video demo. Click on OK, and we cherry pick DLL in such a way we will have our customization being aware of that DLL file. This is one of the ways how we can have our DLL went, or how our DLL can go to customization package. A bit of patience. I will stop debugging here for now. By the way, you can also create a release version of package. So that's another way. It's when you finished all your debugging, you're sure that your source code works fine, then you can switch from debug version to release version, and then you will have released version of package. For now I will stay in debug mode. So let's say following, we made some kind of modification here, for example, like this. Sorry, I will remove this var, it's not necessary here. And we rebuild our package. Rebuild. Yeah. How we can inform Acumatica that our package was changed? We need to reload here, customization project. After each rebuild, we need to update the page in which we do development. Again, you can observe IIS worker process. It becomes quite active. Sometimes you can see SQL Server becomes active. So it reloads. It reloads more, and this kind of X shows that page is in the process of refreshing. Also here, when it says waiting for localhost. Yeah, now IIS worker process is kind of heavily loading system, and VB C# compiler. So I'm going here, I'm opening files section, and I click on detect modified files. And you see, Acumatica by itself, it tracks what kind of changes happened, and it suggests update customization project. So each time you update your source code, you can inform Acumatica about happened changes by going to files and hit on detect modified files. You see, second time when I click detect modified files, yeah, I cannot, Acumatica says no modified files have been detected. So this is by no means complete instruction, but this is the way how you can start Acumatica developments on your computer. I wish you all the best in your development efforts.